Alright, I'm going to try to do this kind of quick. This is about as disassembled as most people ever get them. I'm going to do this kind of quick since I've only got so much video here. Start with your end plate. I kind of left that one together. You see how it's got. There's a brass peg there. Then your little thumb bar goes over top of that. And that sits right on top of it. You just have to go back and rewind if I get to going too fast. Start with that there. There you go. Now this black piece here is a tricky one. These bars have to go underneath of this black piece here on your spool. Okay, first we need to put the drag washers back in. Yours may be a little different on your schematics. You'll have to just kind of refer to them if all the drag washers are out. Silver one down in there. I don't know if you'll have these carbon ones, but carbon. And that piece. Carbon. You just might have to refer to the schematics in order the way these go. And mine has a black plastic piece. Two silver oblong ones that face each other. That one points up because they're kind of got a little bend in them. This one points down. All that goes inside of there, just like that. Screw on your drag. Get that on. Little silver spring washer. Face it in so it humps up. Then your handle goes on. You got a little washer or nut there that goes on. Got my little Abu tool here. Yeah, got it on straight. And don't cross thread it like I just tried to do. Now this, see it like this, goes on like that. Face your gears together like that. Now this is the tricky part. This piece here, those little spring tabs, those metal tabs have to go under that black piece right there. If they're not under it, it won't work correctly. Now take that silver piece you had, just like that. Now it's kind of tricky, it might take a few tries because everything wants to jump apart. But you want to run that rod through there. Then you got to line up all these. Those two holes in that black plastic piece have to go on these silver pegs Like I said, it might take a few tries. See, mine's already coming apart. Just have to get a little tool to work in there. But there's two big silver rods at those two round holes on that little black piece on that spool on this that have to sit on there. And I'll show you. Right here. They have to sit just like that on top of there. But yet this piece goes under like that. There's also a little brass washer I just about forgot. It goes right there. Grease kind of holding it together. Yeah, there it went. Just stick it on there where it belongs. That's where it goes. And it'll take a little bit. They don't just fall together often. Just got to kind of move it around and get them lined up. Everything has to be lined up, because if something is misaligned and you screw it down, it just ruins it. It binds something up, and then you'll never get it working. I still don't have something lined up right in there. Again, just check to make sure your tabs are in the correct spot. I think that was my problem. Oops. See, this black piece has to line up on the brass post right there. There. There, I think we got her. There. Okay. Put my spool back in. Now, you got to check it. Push your thing, make sure it clicks. Turn your crank and make sure it comes up. If it doesn't, you got to start over. Put your screws. Get one tightened down. And then check it again. Make sure it clicks. Make sure it pops up when you turn your crank. Now, you can finish up this on this side. This little clip, C-clip, goes right over the end of that to hold all your nuts and everything on. If that's missing, you can get that at probably a hardware store sells them little retention clips. You might have a plastic piece that covers that nut, and then you'll just have to tighten the nut until a hole in that plastic piece lines up with that screw hole, and then there's a little screw that goes in it. This one's missing. It's not necessary for the function. Alright, that's your whole end plate together. Take your spool, Should have two little plastic pieces on here, I'm assuming, if they still had those when they made yours. If it's all apart, see there's a silver or a brass bushing in there, and there's another brass bushing that goes on the other side, and then that white plastic gear goes on. That's your spool. Now take your frame. This is your worm gear housing. This little prong goes in on this side and it lines up and hooks in there. First you got to take your guide, this is your string guide, and run it through like so. Make sure you get it up into that little slot on that bar up here too. It has to ride in that little slot. Otherwise it can bind up. There's your worm gear itself. Slides in there. Everything falls apart. You just got to keep doing it, putting it back together. Now you want to take your line pawl. It's a little round piece. It's got a thin little U shape on it. That's your pawl. That rides in your worm gear. Stick that up inside of that hole in the bottom of your line guide if that's all apart. And turn that gear until you get it to fall down in there. I'm going to run out of time on this camera, I know it. Okay, now it's down in there. Line your slot and your guide back up. Stick it through on that side over here. Get it all in there. There's a cap that goes on top of it all to that pawl, a silver cap with a flat screwdriver head. You probably have to pull it loose to get that tightened down. As you know, nothing wants to work out when I've only got 13 minutes of video on my camera. I've already used 12 and a half. Okay, that's tightened down. Probably have to make another video. Now, there's a little spring that goes on just like that. Snaps on. That holds all that in. Then this end cap goes on there like so. I'm just going to put one screw in for now, see if I can get this done here. I've only got about 40 seconds left. On the camera, of course. Now your spool slides in with the white gear inside. Then this end cap goes on just like that. Like I said, make sure everything's tightened down good. And then you got your finger screws, you just tighten them up. I can't get mine together because I got string in there, but that's the general idea because I'm just about out of video. But try that, see if that helps you. I hope it does. Again, when you're done, just make sure everything works correctly.